All right, audience, hold. We're waiting for an event. All right, Glimo, you got your resub out of the way. Thanks for those 69 months. What a resub.
Nice.
You put 69 dudes in the chat. Unbelievable. Hey.
And Bill and Ted and excellent.
Okay. Welcome to King Arthur Pendragon 5.2, the Great Pendragon Campaign, episode 31. Oh, what a surprise. Grimdark James subbing immediately after Glimo for 64 months. 64, a very important number when it revolves around electronics and bit registers, but not quite 69, I would say, in terms of excitement. We are joined, perhaps, for some of us, for the last time. Big Spoon is Kendrick of Pitton, Glimo is Kanid of Laverton, and Grimdark James is Gwigan of Shruton, as we head deeper into the adventure of the Forest of Sauvage.
Sauvage.
Yeah. I feel like I've covered several different ways of saying it. That's my basis. I've been very clear that the next part of the adventure, we are not going to be following what is written in the book. Instead, I have come up with some additional activities that will be solved by our players IRL. For James's part, it should be noted that James is both smarter than me and also thinks significantly faster than me. So I assembled 3 puzzles for him, and I borrowed 2 puzzles, and borrowed is putting it very lightly. And then about an hour ago, I was reviewing the puzzle I made, and I was like, there's multiple solutions to this, actually. This is garbage.
I mean, the big brain move would be to give me a puzzle which is unsolvable.
All right, James. P is equal to NP. I mean, I could do that, but it would truly defeat several purposes. You know what I mean? There should be some fairness to it. I also needed to remove several questions, so I think we're going to go down to there will be 2 puzzles or questions for each of the players, and then there will be a bonus round. I have nothing else to add. Just to remind us that we have entered the Forest Sauvage. We have penetrated quite deep through it. We are traveling with a magpie, whose name is Magpie, who has openly stated he is here to spy. The spy magpie. And he is riding on Gwigan's shoulder, just kind of side-eyeing everybody and having a name blather while actively participating in conversations. And you have just gotten past the puzzle from Labyrinth using the solution from the movie, which we're not going to say so that people who watch the movie can guess Cotton a spy magpie. And that's why I have no follow-up to that. The 3 of you, escorted by Sir Seethes, Hayden, Erwin, and your squires, plus a Congo line of horses loaded down with supplies, break from the thick woods and the enchanting forest of the Forest Sauvage into a large clearing, the center point of which is a citadel atop a hill, from which fly many banners and flags, of which, even if you could heraldry them, you would have no way of recognizing them. At the base of such a hill, there is a wall with a drawbridge, a moat, which is more like a lake, truly quite large, and a bridge which is, to your eyes, larger than anything you've seen on the Isle of Britain, which would pass for a drawbridge. Fields surround this castle, this citadel, in every direction, and small, it would be too much to say that they were each their own individual hamlet, but small outcroppings of buildings where peasants are working at and serfs. Your appearance does not go unnoted, but nor does it stir controversy. No one goes running. There are no alarm bells. The people here are simply briefly watching you from their fields and then lean down and continue the harvest. They seem to be harvesting some sort of blue stalk, almost like if someone threw a bucket of blue pop ice paint on wheat, except that there is just something strange about the way that the plants move.
What do these people look like?
They look like normal humans from this distance. They're wearing a lot of like brown tunics with bright green or yellow caps. Some of them have multicolored pants that are made from different patches. That seems like a popular activity. Not everybody has like the multicolored patch pants, but it's very popular around here. There is a feeling of warmth, but not too warm. Warmer than the ambient summer temperature of Britain at this time, which is much cooler than the ambient summer temperature of Britain in current days. For instance, this forest isn't on fire to begin with, but there is a feeling of summer. And when you started this adventure, it was late summer, early fall, and it is almost as if you have gone back several months to the peak, to a solstice almost. The magpie's like, oh, hey, yeah. That's the castle. The castle of the king of the forest of Savage.
You know how we are to present ourselves?
I know how to present myself. Puffs out his little bird chest, puts his beak all the way back, puts his wings all the way out, and starts making bird song. He's like, ladies love this stuff, man. You gotta know, gotta do it every morning before all the other males get in on it, you know? Twiddle-doo. All right, let me do it in your human language. La 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 la. I'm telling you, that one got me 2 kids right there.
Cam, where's Phoebe's with his tin whistle?
I love the fact that your microphone peaked out in the second part of that.
After seeing that none of you are impressed, he kind of looks over at Erwin and then like puffs his chest out. She just rolls her eyes and he deflates. Just absolutely crushed. He's like, it's because it's not early enough in the morning. You know, it's too late in the afternoon. Nobody's trying to get it on right now. So what are your guys' plans right now?
That won't go well.
Yeah. What are your plans? What are you thinking about?
Oh, this is Kendrick. This is your. We're here for your quest.
Well, protocol and etiquette would dictate that we present ourselves to the Lord of the Castle. If we are indeed traveling in the King's lands, we must seek audience with him.
Okay, the bird is just nodding along. He's like, okay, all right. You know, I'm going to give you a warning because I'm nice. All right. Just know you should only eat human food while you're there. It's not like anybody's going to try to trick you with that. That's like a member of the castle staff or any of our local humans or any of the fairy lords of the castle. But, you know, just make sure that you stick to the human stuff, okay? It's all I'm saying. And you're going to have to go through customs.
Is it going to be a breach of hospitality if we refuse? Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, is it going to be a breach of hospitality if we refuse food that's offered to us?
Ooh, you know, that's like that's a question that's way above. You know, I never refuse food that's offered to me, so I don't really know what the conduct level is like for other beings.
Kendrick, you had a question about the customs?
Yes, I was going to say, what sort of customs will we have to go through?
Oh, you know, the usual.
I don't believe I've ever been to a land like this before. So what are the local customs?
It's Britain. It's Britain, so you've been here your whole life, probably.
Okay.
I don't know. Have
yes,
you?
where the wheat is blue.
Oh,
as it is
yeah,
all over the
blue
land.
wheat. Yeah. We use it to make milk.
Very
Can I-
normal and Britain-like.
It's normal around here.
Mm-hmm. And Kendrick will like spur his horse off towards the castle.
All right.
Can I make a fair lower roll to understand what the proper custom would
absolutely.
be?
Go ahead.
No.
You listen, here's the thing. You do know the customs. You know the customs. You have to put the milk out at night with the piece of bread before the new moon. Or maybe it's the full moon. It's one of the two. It's an insult if you do it wrong. You know, you should always present your weapons as threateningly as possible when meeting a fairy knight in order to show how strong you are and how much of a threat you believe that they are. You're full of fairy knowledge about this stuff. You're absolutely prepped, ready to go. You travel across these fields. I assume you don't trample through anyone's fields and you take what
No.
are little more than horse paths on your way through. Many of the people watch you silently, and some that are cooking inside lean out the windows and wave at you, but no one says anything. Several small human children begin to wander around in your wake and are just like, it looks like they would be saying things in the way that small children following knights would be like giggling, and like a trucker would be asked to like toot their horn or something. You know what I mean? Instead, these children follow you gleefully, but completely silent.
B.
I feel like I'm supposed to roll sanity.
You look in the
and
reflection of the nearby
everybody's-
windows and you see another knight riding beside you who you have no memory of.
Or that he's been here the whole time.
He's been here the whole time. Samuel Dalton.
Yes.
Samuel of
Oh.
Dalton.
All four of us, great friends. We've been writing together forever. That everybody still looks normal human.
They,
No elves or fairy or anything.
I mean, you have a giant talking magpie on Wiegand's
Sure.
shoulder, but other than that, no.
Okay.
Don't see my brother?
No.
I mean, Magpie, do you want to talk to the children?
Oh, listen, it's okay if you guys talk to them, but around here, we don't like converse with the help. It's just unseemly for fairies, you know, that sort of thing. Okay, you guys look very uncomfortable when I said that. It's totally normal, okay?
To not speak with the people who work your fields.
Yeah, of
And
course.
provide
We
you
talk
with
to
your-
people whose job it is to talk to those people.
I see. And whose job would that be?
I'm not going to talk to you about the 16 dawns of advancement through fairy society. I mean, obviously you should know these kind of really basic. You actually don't know them, huh? Wow. You guys are in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm. So why don't you help us out?
That's not really my job. You know, I'm spying on you.
What if I spy back?
Would you?
Could you?
No one has ever spied back on me. The bird looks genuinely interested. How would you do it?
I mean, you've been on my shoulder. I've been looking at you at the side the whole time.
Are you spying on me?
No, I'm not Magpie.
Or is that something someone spying on me would say?
I'm taking this moment of indecision of Magpie to make an intrigue roll.
Okay. What
Oh.
are you intriguing? You can't just make an intrigue roll to intrigue roll.
This is are you spying on me? I'm not. No, I'm spying on you. I'm trying to.
All right. I'm going to allow this roll of
speak.
psychological warfare, but if you lose, Magpie's going to be in your head. All right.
It's gonna own
It's
your
going to own you.
Oh, he owns you.
I can't make a roll.
Every time you look at Magpie, you see him smirk a little bit, and you're like, what does he know that I don't know? And you look away, and then you look back over, and Magpie, you think Magpie was looking away, but the instant you look back over, he's looking directly at you, and you're like, oh man, what's going on here?
So I'm just gonna take 5 points of psychic damage.
How many different systems are you going through right now?
I mean, yeah.
All right, you might as well also take a stress token, I think.
Flip a destiny point.
Oh yeah, flip a destiny.
So when when we come to the bridge, does anything happen?
As you were approaching, the bridge was up.
Okay.
But when you get to the bridge is down, and you never noticed any difference between the bridge being up and down.
Mm-hmm.
You can see at the end of the bridge there are two creatures. They're 7 feet tall. They have furry faces and blue fur, but are relatively human-ish with elongated elvenish ears. One of them is waving towards you. The other one has a vest and a pad of paper and a grease pencil. And you can hear one calling to you from the other end of the bridge, like, okay, come on now, let's do the customs here. Anything you need to declare before coming into the citadel of the Castle of Savage? Any contraband goods you'd like removed from yourself before you come? I assume you brought your papers and passports.
Only this Magpie.
Okay, the Magpie works for us. He's part of the customs department. Come along now.
Well, then he'd know.
What exactly is contraband here in the forest?
Well, if you don't know, you don't know. Is there anything you'd like to declare before coming in?
I'd like to declare that I'm not willfully bringing in anything that I know to be banned or contraband in your castle.
Excellent. That's a good start. Are there any dangerous political or religious opinions that you intend to bring into this castle? For instance, if you have anything to say about the Prithian invasion of Highburn, if you'd like to chime in on the debate for control of the Sun's Light between the Dawn and Summer courts, or if you have anything you'd like to say about Rysand's sacrifice. These are just examples of many ways you could get yourself involved in fairy politics. Or as we call it around here, politics.
No, I have nothing to say about any of those things.
Okay, are any of you fleeing religious or social persecution or have any sort of legal troubles in your lands of origin?
No.
All right, we're going to ask you to prick your fingers, get a little blood on it, and press your thumbprint here on this pad of paper so we can get your fingerprints.
One moment. In all honesty, I'm awaiting judgment by the future King of England.
Awaiting judgment by the future King of England is not a crime.
Okay.
One of them looks at the other, and the one wearing the vest goes, it's going to be at least 10 years for that one, I think. He goes, that's right, at least 10 years for the King of England, I should say. Perhaps even longer. Do any of you wish to be selected for a strip search?
No.
Okay, just press your thumbs here. You've completed customs.
Is there anything written on the pad they want you to press your thumb to?
Yeah. It has a number of different questions that have been checked off, which include, do they have papers? X. Are they bringing any contraband in? Check mark. Are they fleeing religious persecution? X. That sort of stuff. There's no like,
Yeah.
if you
There's no,
put
like,
your
but-
thumbprint to this, you will be bound forever.
Yeah, there's no by signing this you agree that it's not an EULA. It's just a passport document. Okay, I'll go ahead then.
It's a customs document. All right, you've all completed your customs. Would you like to wash yourselves, remove your iron, perhaps lay up your weapons? You can check them all here at the guard tower.
What is customary for visiting knights?
Oh, we don't hold humans to fairy customs.
So what is customary for visiting human knights?
We don't have a lot of human visitors.
I see. I will
Strange customs.
keep my belongings about me then.
Very well, then. Any of the rest of you?
Kinnead follows Kendrick's lead.
They're all free to enter the citadel of the King of the Forest Savage.
So one question: if we do disarm, are we guaranteed any? Does that afford us any additional guarantee of safety or passage?
The two of them step aside and begin having a quick conversation with each other. At that point, you see from around the corner of the gatehouse riding a beautiful charger is a knight who has a half moon emblazoned on his shield. He is wearing what I'm going to describe as elven armor, but is actually just plate mail. And he has one of those shields that has the cutout for a lance to be held in place. This is technology that won't be invented for hundreds of years. You're looking at it and you're like, what the hell? His armor is so shiny. Perfect and gleaming. One of the
Interesting.
customs officials, the one with the vest, breaks off and says, while you are in the castle, you are subject to all fairy laws, but you have nothing to fear from physical harm to yourselves or detainment except in the cases of breachment of hospitality or if you were to breach any fairy laws. I think it would be quite difficult for you to breach fairy law because you don't know anything about it. But I would say keep your wits about you, and anyone that warns you of a thing, take that very seriously. And if someone warns you of a thing 3 times, there is mortal peril involved. All right, warned of mortal peril? Let's keep it moving here. Would you like to disarm or not?
I think I will disarm.
Okay. This guy takes your chainmail. He's like, oh, it stinks like hell, it does. All of you smell terrible. All right, we've got a warm water tank in the guard tower if you'd like to take a bath real quick and get your stinking iron off of you. Here is a check for any of your equipment that you're leaving with us.
Very well.
One final note as you pass through these gates. Sale of belt buckles is prohibited today. And every other day. I don't mean every day, I mean every other day.
Of course.
But
Of
every
course.
other day of the week is fine.
No, you're misunderstanding me.
Is it only
Every
the sale?
other day of
Yes,
the week is fine.
exactly. Now we're
Yes.
on the same page here.
Is it only the sale, or is purchasing also part of the same crime?
No, purchasing is not a crime, sale is a crime.
Okay.
It's like bribery, but in reverse.
So I think what Kendrick is going to do is he's going to first he'll take up the offer of the bath here in the tower, and he'll basically disarm, but he's not giving up his weapons. Like he's going to attach them to his saddle.
Okay. Are you gonna ride your horse into the fortress?
No.
We didn't we stable our horses outside the forest and only
Oh yeah, we did.
only brought our
That's
pack
right.
horses with us.
Then he'll like attach it to his like pack.
Okay.
And it'll be peace bonded while he's in the castle here.
Okay. Kinneed?
Kinneed will follow Kendrick's lead on this.
All right. Seeth and Erwin are both going to peace bond, and Hayden is going to fully disarm like his cousin.
And like Kendrick's also no longer wearing armor. He's just in like his traveling clothes now.
Okay. You enter into the court of the king of Castle Savage. There you see a high table and a throne with two lions' heads as the arms in like bronze, and then a brass dragon backplating. There's no one seated in that chair. Beneath the high table, there's a series of steps that lead down to what one might call the salt. And at that table, there are three people seated like celebrity judges. They are all making JoJo poses. They're all like, as they wait for you. And there is an ominous fairy feel about the three of them. One is a dwarf human, not a dwarf fae, who is wearing a green cloak and like a yellow tunic, who is short, fat, and ugly, bald but bearded. There is an elvish knight who is not wearing his helm. It's very Warhammer 40k. He's like full plate armor still, but the helm has been removed so that you can see only his face. He's about 8.5 feet tall. He's very handsome, even for a fae. He clearly is super jacked. Like, he could have a spot as like a celebrity podcast host for sure. Absolutely. There is also a elven noble lady who is just like 5'5", seated in a one-piece red dress that goes down. As the magpie enters the room with you, it begins skittering over towards her, and she snaps her fingers and the magpie disappears in like a puff of blue powder. And the powder just drifts to the ground. Greetings! The knight seated in the center says, "You are welcome here in the castle of the King of the Forest Sauvage, Castle Sauvage. Breakfast is served at 8 a.m., a time which you may not understand, but one day your people will. Breakfast will be a full English accompanied by teas of your choice, all of them herbal. We also serve for lunch. Dinner is at 8 p.m. This is the Great Hall. Your coming was foreseen. Rooms have been prepared for you.
You're very generous, Sir Knight.
I speak for the king in this regard, so it is his generosity of which you speak."
And all of these meals that you are providing, they are human food?
The food which will be served to you all is human food at those meals.
Very good.
Thank you for your king's hospitality. May I ask of the lady, no harm came to Magpie, did it? When he
Oh,
disappeared?
the magpie. Yes, about that. It was an illusion created by magic. It has a will of its own, so I'm very annoyed with it, so I decided to discorporate it for a little while. You weren't attached to it or anything, were you?
Oh, only that I gave word to not harm it.
It provided welcome entertainment on our travels here.
I see. Is there anything we can do for you while you're here during your stay?
I don't know. I suppose you could tell me who you might be and what your services are to your king.
The dwarf clears his throat and says, "It is considered quite rude in these parts to ask for the true name of a fairy lord, for which humans may bind fairy.
I merely wanted to know who you are.
You may describe them as the gallant and the lady of Castle Savage, and you may refer to me as the dwarf."
And is it polite to address you as such?
Yeah, I don't really care, you know. I understand it can be considered an insult back out beyond the forest, but here it's just, I'm like the only one, so it just describes me. And I'm not insulted by me. Are you insulted by me?
No.
Okay, then. You can just call me the Dwarf of Castle Savage.
And what are the services that you provide your king? What positions do you hold?
I'm a game player. Would you...
I bet Gwent isn't here.
You gotta say more of a Johnny Cash.
Actually, I have a game that you will probably love. I can teach you how to play.
Yes.
I don't think my challenge is for you, youngin'. He turns to look at you, Guigan, and says, "Tomorrow at 8 a.m., rather than have breakfast, you come see me in the Western Hall. That is my challenge to you."
Very well, Sir Dwarf.
The knight, the gallant seated in the center seat, says, "And you? I believe that they said your coming name was Kanaid."
Yes, sir.
"Rather than have lunch tomorrow, you will come see me in the Southern Hall. I have a challenge for you."
Very well.
The lady clears her throat and looks at you, Kendrick, and says, "And to you, destined one, you will skip dinner tomorrow, and you will have a feast with me in the Eastern Hall with my guests. Prepare wisely, for you do never know who's coming to dinner."
You said Eastern Hall?
Yes, Eastern Hall.
All of our NPCs are like, well, what the fuck about me? So, how's this a story about these three?
Can I make a just like a general fairy lore check to see if I know anything about these three?
Sure. Your fairy lore will absolutely fail on the dwarf because he's not a fairy.
Sure.
He's a human.
Yeah.
So can I roll dwarf lore?
Do you have dwarf lore on your sheet? No, we'll do it stars odd number style. Then you take a -1 on the roll.
I'd like to default to my intellect.
We are really butchering game mechanics today, huh?
We've referenced like 6 different systems.
All right. Oh, I was about to do Mephidius Star Trek, but this system already has roll 2d20, so I guess that's not... It wouldn't make a difference. Yikes. Good thing I didn't go there. The 3 of them look at the 6 of you and say nothing.
Thank you for once again your king's hospitality. Where do we find, or who can take us to our chambers?
One of the servants. They will speak to you if asked. Try to find one of the humans.
Very well.
She gestures outside the hall. One of the humans stops and walks in and just kind of nods to her and then silently gestures for all of you to follow him.
All right.
As you exit the hall, Hayden is like, why does the three of you get challenges but not us? Also, should we be whispering?
I'm pretty sure they'll hear you no matter how loud loud or
Yeah.
quiet you talk.
I feel like we should work under the impression that anything that we say or do in this castle is observed.
The human walking with you nods slightly and then gestures for you to go to the north hall with him.
Will you tell us anything more about the castle? I said this to the person leading us.
Oh, yeah, sure, whatever you'd like.
Are there any forbidden areas of the castle that we should avoid?
I don't... there's plenty of areas I should avoid. I don't know about you.
But we... What more can you tell us of the dwarf, the lady, and the gallant?
Oh, the dwarf is very good at playing chess and several other games. The gallant is a master chef. Indeed, some call him the master chef. It is said that his true name evokes an animal of great power.
And the lady?
He just does not answer and keeps walking.
And what do you know anything about the king? Have you met him before?
I have not seen the king before, but I am bound to him.
How long have you served here?
Oh, 20 years or so. Sometimes it's hard to keep track.
And in all
Seems
those,
like time flows differently here.
the king has never held court in those 20 years?
Oh, he holds court all the time.
Hmm.
He cannot be seen by those he does not wish to be seen by. Only those that complete his celebrity contest challenge are capable of... I see you laughing. I do not know what those names mean, those words strung together. It seems to have some meaning to you. It is an elvish thing, a fairy thing that I do not understand.
I only laugh because they seem to be nonsensical. Those
Many
words
say
have no
that
meaning
about
to me
elven
as well.
things. They also say that about us humans. They did not understand what I meant when I said that we were throwing a hoedown once.
I don't think I understand.
Hey,
that
down,
either.
ho down, dare down. I'm so
I
great now.
see that you are skilled in the arts of the hoedown. Do you also dance in a square direction?
Badly.
Was that you checking your character sheet for your dance skill?
For your dancing skill?
Incredible.
Yeah.
And I realized
Badly.
I had a 2.
I appreciate your commitment to staying in character. I think we're going to take our break here. I know it hasn't been that long. We're way off the clock, though. We started late.
I do have one question though. It's just to say, are there any sort of bells or otherwise indicate the time so I'll know when it's 8 a.m.?
No.
No. Okay.
You notice that there are no church bells and no Christian religious symbols in any way here.
But I mean, like, how does everyone else note the time? Will
Do you
sort of-
ask the servant that?
I am. If I'm asking,
Oh,
when
yes,
will
he
I
says-
know when there's someone's breakfast?
Will
yeah.
someone?
Oh, I don't really know. You know, I keep my own time. The fairies seem to have some innate sense of it.
Would you perhaps wake my brother
And someone
at
summon
the
us.
appropriate time?
I will write something down for the other servants so that someone may gather you at the appropriate times. Are there? And he discusses with you like what times
We'd
each
like
of
to
you need
place a
to
wake
arrive.
up call.
Yes, there you go.
Sure.
He makes sure that
We'd like to
someone,
make a wake up call. At the
someone
front
will come
desk.
get you promptly 15 minutes before your events.
Despite the fairy's insistence, the 24-hour time system is about 600 years old at this point. So,
How many people do you think are using clocks in this time period?
but people know what 8 a.m. is still though.
All right, James. I don't know where to go for that.
A break.
Yeah, we're going on break now. We'll be back after
will
these
we?
messages. We'll be right back. The 6 of you are shuffled back in for supper that day. You can hear the lady who has the magpie on her shoulder and appears to be suffering its weight, drawing her to her right side. She is using that lean in to speak to the gallant, and she says, "Oh, I have to say, it made a lot more sense, to have such a thing before the Fey Road network was put up. But now that we have it, it's just so much less entertaining learning about human cultures in this island. We can just go there rather than have one place kind of imitates and mocks them." And the gallant says, no, mockery of them, no. I'm telling you, it's very important. Look, the Fey Road Network's connection, and he gestures for you all to sit down at the table. The Fey Road's connection is very important. You see, humans haven't developed, what is it in your people's language? Preservation techniques? Their ale is only good for like a day, maybe 2. If I want to get a flight of beers from across all of the island, I can only go to the connection center now. You think I want to walk to each part? I think I'm going from Cornwall all the way up to Lothian just to get 2 different but equally tasty
2
beers?
weeks before it spoils. Thank you very much.
Time works differently here, but I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Oh, you're coming, the 3 of you, your comings to this dinner, to this castle, to this point in time and destiny were foreseen, and so all of your favorite human foods were prepared for you. So long as it is served by one of the nobles of this castle or its servants, you need not fear anything at this table. So I will ask you, what do the 3 of you see seated in front of you when you sit down?
I think. One second. I have to look for this.
He needs a simple man. He sees meat and potatoes and a stout ale.
I think for Gwiggan, as somebody who tries to live a ascetic life religiously, but then his favorite meals are like the holiday celebrations, like the Christmas or the Easter meal as such. So it's probably something like a ham or something some sort of like holiday feast.
I want to imagine that it is the feast from the Pentecostal feast from the year that the King's heir was born. Like that was a particularly good one.
Yeah.
So I think for Kentrick, it's so like for the first course, it's like pastries, and then like the main entree is roast boar, and then like there's some sort of like elderberry pie or something like that, some sort of berry pie at the end.
Don't forget the Book of Feast has a full 3-course meal generator.
Yes.
We're not doing Book of Feasts until the time of Arthur. Chill, guys, relax.
You can still generate meals from it, though.
Yeah, well, if I wanted to generate meals like that, I would just go to the Redwall Feast generator and be like, oh, it's a crumpet with berries in it, and it's got a lovely little pudding next to it. That's what I would do. I would use the Redwall Feast generator. So the dwarf clears his throat and he says, we haven't quite gotten the Russian style of cuisine dining down here, so, serve yourselves and pass around whatever you need to others. You can see that he's gnawing on, like, horse tongue. Like dried horse tongue, like a jerky. Good. Delicious. Best in the world. So, what is it that brought you here, Sir Kendrick? We know you're coming, but not the question. Has the king fucked your sister, perhaps? Did you lose a child? Did a bishop send you? Or maybe you've heard about the king's son.
To be quite honest.
Horse tongue, so good.
Sorry, what was that about the king's son?
No, the king's son. Yeah, we know about that.
Which king?
The king.
Our king?
Yeah, your king. Yeah. I mean, if it was our king, we'd say fairy king.
So,
It's good to know.
where is his son?
Oh, 10 years.
We saw him taken.
Yeah, 10 years.
I was told that I would find a destiny here for me.
Oh, the castle. Yeah, that's an easy one.
Well, it's so easy then. Tell him how it's done so we can all go home.
The gallant laughs, chuckles slightly, and looks down at you, Kinid, and says, if only things were so simple, companion. Such questions must be answered by the master of this realm, the king of Castle Savard.
And how does one gain audience with the king?
The lady says, oh yes, audience with the king. I believe we explained that earlier, but just if you're not clear, one must earn the approval of his three closest advisors, the dwarf, the gallant, and the lady, through completing a series of challenges and tasks.
See? And we must, all of us must complete all three tasks, or a task for each of you.
She raises an eyebrow and smiles slightly, and the gallant goes, it's quite rude to ask that, sir. To ask of another's challenge.
No, I do not wish to know what the challenges are, just the requirements for meeting the king. Do I complete all challenges, or just the one that I have been?
It would be
asked to
wisest
attend?
for your whole group to rise to meet your destiny, rather than rely on chance, perchance.
Mm-hmm. Very well.
So the dwarf continues chewing on horse tongue, and he goes, I'm going to stand up from my table, and I'm going to move to the end of the table, and I'm going to talk to the other three whose names I don't know. Just been a while since I've talked to any humans. And the gallant says, oh, poor fellow. Yes, of course. You are dismissed from the medium table. Please, feel free to go talk to the other humans, as you put it. So the dwarf stands up, and he takes a leather bag filled with horse tongue jerky, and he goes and sits down and starts talking to Seath, Hayden, and Erwin.
No, they're human. I wasn't sure about one of them.
The gallant says, sorry, which one are you not sure about?
Oh, never mind.
Ah. I seem to be on the receiving end of a jest not intended for me. It's all right. I understand such humors. We often make jokes at human expense.
As do I.
He leans in next to the lady and begins this. He's like, so the state of Highburn nowadays, really, with the whole cauldron business, I wouldn't want to be involved in that. And they begin having like a quiet conversation between the two of them.
I'll wait for like a break in the conversation and then sort of speak up. Like I don't want to interrupt, but I also want to sort of talk to them. Tell me, Sir Gallant and my lady, your countenance among the Fae is obviously noble. What is it that your court does for the betterment of your people? How do the nobles of your kind progress the nation as a whole?
Bureaucratic administration. For one thing, we do not need to advance our society or our culture. We have already reached the peak of Britishness. We were British before the Bretons were British. Indeed, your entire culture of knighthood is stolen and is a pale imitation of what we do. Although it is both amusing and honorable, your quaint concept of chivalry.
So was that sentence finished? Sorry.
Yes? He says with the question mark at the end of it.
Sorry, it sounds like you were mid-thought. I apologize.
No, what did I say? Your concept is very quaint, that of chivalry. You know, the riding of horses and settling of judgments. Chivalry.
And what is the drive to better oneself among the Fae?
The two of them look at each other, confused, and the lady says, to better oneself. One is born perfect as they are. Why would one need to better oneself? So confusing. You obviously need to prove yourself to others from time to time, but you are already perfect as you are when you are born.
And what about beyond the veil of death?
The what?
The veil of death, when your life comes to an end.
The gallant leans in next to her and says, yes. So, trying to tell you, there's a point where they didn't exist, and there'll be a point where they don't exist anymore. And she goes, sounds absolutely dreadful. And he goes, I mean, we'll never know, but yes, death. It's a very real thing, and we're very worried about it.
Even if you are immortal to the ages of time, what about to violence? Can one Fae not slay another?
Oh, sure, happens all the time. I've slain hundreds of Fae. Just sort of come back from it. The magpie turns to look at you with wide eyes, squeaking. Yeah, man, just sort of happens.
So when you say you're born perfect, do you mean you're reborn perfect?
No, I was born once perfectly. I can see that our traditional lifestyle is very confusing to the unorthodox like yourselves.
Simply that if new Fae are created, yet no Fae ever pass from this realm, then surely you have infinite resources.
She leans in next to the gallon, and he's like, if they know. She's like, I'm concerned that they do know. And he says, infinite resources. Wow, that's crazy. It's not like the age of gods is ending or anything, and myths are coming to an end. The rise of humans, that would truly be lunacy. The last gasp of magic upon the world. What a thing it would be to view. Tell me, have you heard of the sword, Excalibur?
I admit I've heard of multiple swords by that name, it turns out.
Oh, no, no. There's just one sword with the name Excalibur. Are you perhaps thinking of the other sword, which often is mixed up with that sword, Caliburn?
Is that the sword that's in London?
Oh, yes. Yeah, the Sword of Selection. It's not always a sword. They call it the Sword of Selection, but sometimes it's a hammer. Sometimes it's a spear. Tell me, do you also know then of Rongo Myniad?
No.
Do I know of
interesting.
Ronco Myniad?
Sure, roll fairy lore.
Sure.
Nope.
I did not.
You've never heard of such a spear. Klimo is not a spear. It is a lance. You have heard of the lance Ronco Myniad. It is a ancient Bretonic spear which is said to have been blessed by the fairies, and it is said to be both a lance and a tower, which is somewhat confusing. And it is said that the thing that it lances is the world.
Kinnead relays this.
Yes. I see that your world lore is very strong compared to your companions. I congratulate you. Yes, Rongo Myniad is one of the 7 treasures along with Excalibur that pin the reverse side of the world to what you consider to be the world. Our lands of Elvenish and magic, legends and gods, sit here on the reverse side. The two shall be bound together so long as the 7 treasures are used wisely. And when they are misused, things become unseemly. Such is the current situation we find ourselves in now, is it not? I can only say that you are here. Your destiny is foreseen because you are the inheritors of the mistake of not returning Excalibur. And at that, Hayden's like, oh, that's why. It's not because they're more important than us. It's because they made a mistake. Of course.
Did they not just speak? Did they not just tell us that they were perfect?
I feel like
No, he means they're saying
We
the
made
3
a
of
mistake.
you are the inheritors
Okay.
of the mistake of returning Excalibur. Because Excalibur
Well-
wasn't returned after being taken.
well, I feel like that's the Merlin's mistake, and
Oh, Merlin
Not
is
ours.
totally blameless, the lady says. We love Merlin. Absolutely dreadful fellow. Absolutely love him. So good, so good.
So,
Love Merlin. Hate that bitch, but also love Merlin. Tell me, is he going the one way or the other way right now?
the other way.
Ah. That's the one we don't like.
No, I tend to not like either of them.
Sure, I get that.
What was the agreement when he took the sword?
Oh, he stole
He-
the sword.
Oh, I see. So there was no agreement.
I mean, there is an agreement bound upon the fairy magics. We cast the sword with the power of the planet and magic itself.
Mhm.
The moment of creation.
Mhm.
His refusal to carry out those commandments bound to the sword. Truly a foolish move. A wizard should have known better.
Mhm.
He's got that Satan in him, though, you know?
So you're familiar with the devil?
Oh, yes, the Christian devil. He's very real.
Interesting.
Yes, it is interesting. He's an entertaining fellow. We love having him over as a guest.
is he here now?
The Christian devil. Is he here now? You would burst into flames if he were here now. No, he's not here.
What of the other gods?
Hmm?
The other gods.
And the gallant says, "It is extremely rude in a regional fairy court to speak of the magics of other places. It is
Oh, I see. So
why
they're-
we do not
they're
tell
not
you
from
the
here.
other names of the Sword of Selection, for instance."
I see. Forgive me.
You could not know our ways. You are just so human in your chivalry. While you all are staring at each other and this somewhat uncomfortable, the four people sitting at the end of the table begin laughing uproariously at something the dwarf said. And he goes, "Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Love that horse tongue." Hayden's like, "Can I try some of that?" And he's like, "You probably shouldn't. It's fairy magic. You'll definitely be falling under a curse. You'll have to stay here forever. It's worth it, though." I think so, at
Hayden, you
least.
should try it.
Okay, I'm gonna write down now that Hayden has hatred Khaneed 3. It's a director trait. You've greatly insulted him.
I'm surprised it took this long.
I don't know whose hatred he's highest for Hayden.
Well, right now he has one hatred, and it's hatred Khaneed 3.
I thought we've all pissed him off over time.
Pissing off
haven't.
Khaneed and trying to bait him into being forced to stay in the fairy realms for all eternity are two very different things.
Aiden was my squire. We're bros.
Yeah, you're bros. Right up until you try to convince him to eat magical horse tongue. Yeah. You cross that line and we'll
not
see what
trying to
level of
convince him
hatred
to
he
eat
gets with
magical
you.
horse tongue. Yeah, I'm not trying to convince anybody to eat anything they shouldn't be eating.
And that's why you don't have a hatred score with Aiden. That's all I'm saying. You gotta recognize. The lady says, "Well, this has been a lovely dinner. I've learned so much about your world through your questions. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss before we have dessert served and then have the people who juggle swords and then jump through hoops of fire come out?"
So I know it's rude to ask of the others' challenges, but can you tell me anything of your challenge, my lady?
Dress well. Dress for a king.
Very well. Do you have tailors? Do you have clothes? I only have the clothes I brought for traveling.
She looks horrified and says, "We will have someone bring you hand-me-downs sized for someone as small as you. I'm sure we have someone's children's clothes around somewhere."
As I tower over her by a foot.
Yeah. As mentioned, she's 5'5".
I am short. I am shorter than the gallant, though.
You're taller than the dwarf. Yeah.
So
She said what she said, man.
I appreciate that, my lady.
All right. Well, and human servants come out and they are juggling curved swords around. And then while they're juggling the swords, they're also jumping through hoops of fire. And the gallant's like, "Oh, it's always so funny to see this one. Could watch it for 100 years. And I have." I am now going to do a series of scenes where I present the challenges which take place at 8 a.m., noon, and 8 p.m. However, I'm going to talk you through the beginnings of the challenge, and then when all three challenges are ready to be presented, I will send each of you your challenges on Discord.
Yes, I better
Spoon?
open Discord.
And Gleemo, you will have 1 minute each to answer the questions in your challenges. When you are ready to present your answer, you can raise your hand like you're back in school. You each will have 2 question challenges. James, your
Yes.
challenges will be 5 minutes each. And if
Okay.
the other 2 complete their questions, they can help you with your challenges.
Okay.
It is the morning with the dwarf at 8 a.m. Guigan, you are awoken and prepared 15 minutes ahead of time. The dwarf is seated at a table that has, it's actually 2 small tables. One has a gaming set of chess that you've seen before, and another has some sort of unusual game set as well. And the dwarf is seated, he has his hands over his belly. He's wearing very different clothes. There's no hood or anything. He's wearing something closer to like a jester's outfit that also has an imp's tail. And he's got a cat ears headband on. And he's like, Sir Guigan, you've come for my challenge, the challenge of games.
Indeed.
I assume you know the game of chess, yes?
Passingly familiar, yes.
Okay, good. All right. So, is there anything you'd like to wager on this game?
I don't think that there's anything that I'm willing to give that you would be willing to accept.
Oh, you could try me.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to wager money, but I don't know whether
Oh,
money
sure.
would be.
You mean human money, right?
Yes.
How much are you willing to put up on a stake?
Say 2 libra. That fair for a game?
Oh, sure. You want to do 2 libra for each game or for the whole set?
Just for the whole set.
Okay.
Obviously,
We might have to do a
other calls on
tiebreaker
funds.
then if you win 1 and I win 1, however unlikely that is. Okay. You tell me when you're ready. He gets out a full electric chess clock and puts it beside the chess table. Merlin gave me this a couple years back. It's pretty handy, actually.
What is it?
It's a chess clock. You use it to time your moves. When the little hand thing there reaches the red bar, it means you automatically lose the game.
Very well.
Okay. It is noon, Sir Khanid. You
Yes.
are prepared 15 minutes ahead of time. And you are brought to the hall. You can see that the whole hall has been turned into a cooking challenge. There are a huge buffet of, it's just straight up Iron Chef. It's absolutely 100% has been turned into an Iron Chef set, including mystery ingredients under a sheet. And the gallant is absolutely the judge, and you are facing off against other fairy chefs, including a octopus with wings, who, when you enter, is like, "Hey, what's up, man? How's it going, Sir Khanid?"
And I roll sanity.
Sorry, what did you say?
Pleased to meet you.
Oh,
Sir.
I'd prefer not to give you my true name. You could just call me the spirit of the deep sea cooking. I've got that fresh umami flavor. He
Yes,
holds
I'd
up
expect you
8
should.
butcher's knives. Shh. And he
I
absolutely fucking eliminates a squid right in front of you. Just chops it up, and he's like, "Yep, yep."
I want whatever that dude makes.
Whatever he has, it'll have the taste of the sea for sure. The gallant approaches you. He is wearing a tuxedo, and you can see that he has like a hairnet on, which is, again, completely anachronistic. And he goes, "Sir Khanid, thank you for joining me for my challenge this afternoon."
Sir Khanid reaches into his pack and pulls his knife roll out and rolls it out onto the table.
Sick. Says the gallant. Sir Kendrick.
Glad you didn't make me turn in my iron before I came here.
Oh, wow. When you say that, the flying octopus goes, "Oh my! He's black cold iron with him. I'm out. I forfeit." He drops all of his knives immediately and he gets hovering away. Like a small dog man who's clearly a kobold goes, "That's right. Now it's my time to rise up. One less competitor means that I'm still in the game here." I've seen a cooking show before. This guy definitely is getting eliminated first round. I can't believe I couldn't compete with the rest of them, but I guess I'm going home today. Damn. Sir Kendrick,
Yes.
when you arrive, you are seated at the place of honor at a long table, and there is a 3-year-old child on a booster seat seated at the place of honor. The lady sits across from you at his other side and says, "You will be dining with all of us tonight. May I introduce Oberon, King of the Fairies?" And Oberon goes, "Yeah, nice to meet you. How's it going, Sir Kendrick?"
Pleasure to meet you as well.
"Yeah." He kind of swivels in his booster seat and he goes, "So I understand that there's a knight from the county you're from that's using my wife's name, her true name," and everybody at the table stops what they're doing and hushes.
There's a knight from my county
Yes.
that's using your wife's true name.
Yeah. Titania?
Ah, I see.
What's going on there, bud?
I don't know, actually.
Okay.
I know of her. But I was unaware of the meaning of her name before now.
Well, he looks at everyone else and says, "You can calm down. It's a joke. You can laugh. You can laugh." He turns to you and he says, "Laugh." Everybody laughs. He says, "Yeah, it's just she's so weird. The reports I've gotten are that she is a Kimric woman claiming to be named after my wife, a fairy god, and a wonderful lady, absolutely beautiful woman who I would never cheat on. And what else? She claims that she's blessed by a Irish noblewoman who she thinks is a god and is the patron of autonomy, and just it's so confusing, the story she weaves together." Oh, it's so have you met anyone named Robin in your travels, by the way? He's a great
Robin?
guy.
Have I met someone named Robin?
Yeah, Robin, a good fellow.
I don't believe I have.
Okay, just checking in. All right, let's all eat. Would you like some human bread, Sir Kendrick?
I would love some.
All right, he hands you some human bread.
Right. Check to make sure it's bread for humans, not bread made from humans.
I do check that though.
All right, let me get everything queued up on Discord. Hopefully this works. I'm really worried that the thing that I sent to James won't work, and that this will all have been a disaster. Okay, so this is the cooking question. I need to queue that up for Gleemo. And then spoon. And Dark James. Yikes. We shall see. Now, it didn't work.
the AP game rule is typing.
Yeah, it
and then
didn't
it
work.
stopped.
The one part of it, the important part, didn't work. Hold on. So, here is the agreement the three of us are going to make. You have the two of you have 1 minute to answer your questions, each question, and then James has 5 minutes for his two puzzles. You cannot use Google. You cannot use your computer in any way. You
Just
cannot
bring up,
ask each other for help, but you may ask anyone else around you who is not on this Zoom call for help. And you may use any books or articles you have around you to assist you in these challenges. Are the rules understood? Is there anyone who would like to ask any questions about how they're about to meta break this challenge?
I have a question for you. Assuming, for example, I don't know yet, but assuming that my thing is a chess puzzle, if you're sending me like a list of chess positions, do you mind if I just map it out on a board on my computer so I need
Sure.
to look at it visually then?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
all
just
my
can't-
cookbooks are 2 floors down, but that's okay.
Do you want to go get some right now before
No,
we get
that's-
started? You may need to
nah.
consult them. I'm not sure.
I'm just gonna wing it.
Okay. Everyone's ready then?
He said before something we absolutely should not be winging.
I mean, I'm gonna bring the wrong ones upstairs if I go
Sure,
downstairs
sure,
and
sure.
grab cookbooks, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna bring my whole bookcase upstairs.
Okay. I'm going to send you these. When you have determined that you have an answer for your question, you'll raise your hand. After the 1 minute ends, if both of you have raised your hands, you'll both present the question and your answer to it so that the audience understands the context for the answer. James, you'll present your answer to the audience as well when you have finished. Okay, here we go. I'm sending James his. I'm sending Spoon his. And I have to find Glimo again. One minute begins now. Oh, you can ask chat for help, sure. I saw Glimo put his hand up. Spoon is thinking real hard. He's cooking. He's cooking inside. "25 seconds. Ten seconds.
Can I use a digital form of the book?
Yes, but you have 8 seconds to do it.
Yeah.
Are you ready? All right. James has 4 minutes left on his. Glimo, if you'd like to read your question and then present your answer.
Name the difference between country fried and chicken fried. And I'm going to say that it is the color of the gravy.
That is correct. Spoon, I didn't see you raise your hand.
No, but I am ready.
You're prepared? All right.
So you have the Bright College. Oh, sorry. I'll read my question first. Name 4 of the colleges of magic in the Warhammer Fantasy universe. So you have the Bright College, which is the fire wizards, who use the wind of Aquish. You have the Celestial College, which is the heavenly lore. It's the Wind of Azir, I think. Then you have,
only need the name. You don't have
yeah.
to present the extra stuff. I appreciate that you are, but
then you have this is where it gets a little fuzzier for me because those are the main 2 lores that I used to use in the tabletop game. You have What does the lore of metal use?
What was that?
The lore of metal?
Which is represented by the order of.
Gold wizards. So
Okay, gold order is on the table.
yeah,
You have one
so
more.
and then I know the lore of beasts is brown.
And its name
I don't
is.
think they're called the Brown College.
You're really extending this answer out.
Yeah. The Amethyst Order is the lore of death.
Okay, that is 4. I am. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds, James. I'm going to send you to your second set of questions.
Just trying to improve my situation at all.
Okay. Everyone has 1 minute left. Okay. Wow. Spoon immediately. He fucking juiced it. He was ready.
So my question is: name 3 Primaris Space Marine squad types from the Warhammer 40k universe. You have intercessors.
Yes.
You have eradicators.
Yes.
And you have infiltrators.
All correct. Glimo, I saw you also raise your hand. Go ahead, take a shot.
Cajun versus Creole. One difference is city versus country. And the other big one that everyone agrees on is tomatoes.
You're gonna need a third there because city versus country is not a culinary difference.
So Cajun, like the number one, like it's country cooking, it's gumbo, it has a lot more Canadian influences, French Canadian influences on it. There's a lot more like shellfish on it. Creole is
You're definitely on the right
city
path now with that answer. Yes.
Creole is the city dishes. Creole typically has tomatoes because the Italians, were the newer influence in New Orleans.
I'm gonna accept the recognition of the different meats used. The answer we were looking for here at actually is that one uses more seafood and the other uses some land animals. James, do you have a answer for me?
Yeah, I can do it with 6 2+.
Okay. What do you want to throw me here for? What you got?
So I can throw you 2 options. One of them is for Skaven number 12 to move to D-9 with 2 go for it's, and then Skaven number 2. C-9. Then number 2 moves to D-9 for 2 go for it's. Number 13 moves to D-10 for 1 go for it, then go for it to 2 dice. Block the ball carrier. Other option is for number 14 to 2 dice block elf number 2, and then Skaven number 8 can replace either one of the number 12 or number 2 I did from the earlier thing with the same number of go for it's.
That is correct. All 3 of you may attempt to help James with his second challenge, which will be 5 minutes long. I'm going to post the challenge in our shared King Arthur Pendragon that did not. I'm going to post it again, and it will work this time. It did work. You have 5 minutes starting now. As the white player, mate in 2. Give me the notation needed to achieve that mating.
Sorry, white's turn, yeah?
Yes, as white. Yes. I'm gonna see if I can get this up for the audience to see. Now that they've been presented with my madness so far here, you guys could talk to each other if you want.
Okay. So mate in 2.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of queen takes black bishop? No, can't do that because then the pawn takes the knight, and you have to.
I think it's
Because if you go, I wish this board had numbers of letters on it.
Yeah, I had to sort of try and look at. I had to redo it to look on it top down.
We can't use Google, can we? To go to like chess.com.
No, you could open Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah.
I think it's
Well, my biggest problem is I don't know chess notation. At least not well enough to call out moves in it.
If you can present me the order of moves, I'll accept that.
I think it's queen moves next to king.
So
King
queen-
can't take it because the knight will
No, because so if
the knight will kill him.
so we either have to put the king in check or move the knight first, because if we move the queen first and the king is not in check, pawn takes knight.
Mm.
Or that the bishop will take knight. Oh. Okay, hang on. If we go sorry, go ahead,
I mean,
James.
yeah, I was going to say, so you could, so the queen could move next to the king, and then if the rook takes the queen, the knight moves to f7, and that should be checkmate.
Is that your answer, James?
Yes.
That is correct.
All right.
You have completed all 3 of my challenges, although Spoon in the fantasy orders was a little shaky, so I am going to present you with the bonus round.
Sure.
If you
I
would like
actually,
Oh,
I was focused. I didn't actually even hear what either of their questions or answers were. I heard something about Primaris Marines. That was about as much as I absorbed from the rest of the stuff going on.
I mean, the thing with the colleges, because usually they're never referred to as they're like the Bright College is really one of the main ones that's ever referred to, in the Celestial College. Everything else they're usually referred to by their lore of magic.
the final question presented, you will have 5 minutes. It is a cooking question.
Oh no.
So is this to everybody or to?
I am going to present, yes, all of you can answer it. I'm going to present you with a list of ingredients, and you can tell me any one dish that can be created with all of those ingredients. I'm going to tell you the ingredients verbally. I will not write them down. Are you ready?
Write them down.
Can I write them down?
You can write them down. I'm just not going to write them down.
Okay.
All right. 800 grams beef fillet. Olive oil for use in frying. 500 grams wild mushrooms mixed and clean. 1 thyme sprig, leaves only. 500 grams puff pastry. 8
Beef
slices.
Wellington.
I didn't even get through a quarter of the fucking ingredients.
Once you said puff pastry, I was like,
Yeah,
it's,
That's such a
like,
long shot. What if it wasn't
It's
beef
beef Wellington.
Wellington and you jumped the gun so badly on that shit?
Yeah,
Oh
at first
my
I thought,
God. Yes, it is
I
beef
thought-
Wellington. I didn't even get to the fucking wine sauce.
Salty
You son
Maker
of a
called
bitch.
this like 15 minutes ago.
I had this recipe open for days, and the audience did put beef Wellington in for a completely different question.
amazing.
Infuriating.
First I thought it was a stroganoff callback, but then when the pastry came out, I'm like, no.
Yes, I chose a dish that could potentially have, so that James might, or all of you might remember my stroganoff thing and you might leap in the wrong direction. Little did I know the timer hadn't even fucking started and Gleemo's like, ooh, I'm gonna just straight from the hip. I don't need, Pat, I don't need all the fucking letters. I'm ready to guess. Jesus. All right. So you get an A plus with a, let's call it a tentative on that plus. It's a real Ghost Bear partial victory on the Warhammer question.
So what was the Warhammer question that was unsure about?
4 colleges of magic.
4 colleges.
He really slow
yeah.
rolled. It took him longer to answer the question than he had.
Yeah, like, well, yeah. Because like it was just getting the exact names.
It
of
was
the
clear
colleges.
you didn't have the names, that you were taking time to think about.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
So what did you go in the end?
He did Bright and the one for College of Metal, the one for, you skipped Amber Order for some reason.
Yeah, well, because
Yeah,
I was
for
like,
metal.
that's brown, but I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
so
Amber.
I did Bright College, Celestial College, Gold Order, and Amethyst Order.
Okay.
It was shaky. It was shaky.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You have completed the challenges, and in the process, Cirque Weekend, you have earned yourself 2 Libra. Oh, I believe it's actually 4 Libra because you successfully completed both of your games.
Yeah.
We're going to take the break here, and when we come back, we are going to meet the King of the Forest Sauvage, King of the Castle. I hope you enjoyed my ridiculous little game that I spent hours preparing for and was beaten basically instantly on every question except one.
See,
Unreal.
I was really
James
worried
started.
with
James is like, "Oh, I have 2 answers," and I was like, oh.
Well, you gave the man a Blood Bowl question, AP.
I was worried with the chess one because when I love doing those sort of chess like puzzles in magazines or mate and how many. And the thing with those is there's only ever one solution. So you like even if it's like mate and 3, there's got to be a move which is definitely it forces a specific move back. And I wasn't sure if you made up yourself whether it would have that same sort of complexity.
I didn't make it up myself. That's why it only had one solution.
Okay,
I
cool.
didn't present the game I made up for myself because it had multiple solutions, and I was like, ah, fuck, whatever.
Yeah.
I can't do this. All right, we'll be back. And we aren't going to jump straight to the King of the Forest Sauvage. We still have a conversation with Oberon, which is going to be very entertaining.
Yeah.
A Blood Bowl reference on this channel? Forget about it.
In this economy?
If you want Blood Bowl references, you better go to youtube.com/grimdarkjames. That's all I'm saying. Kendrick, you are enthralled and literally fairy enchanted this evening. And yet, as they speak of things of which you have no context, you barely scrape by, managing to speak well of the Night Court, the Court of Dawn, the Court of Summer, and never making any mistakes. And it is clear that the people here are impressed that a human can speak so eloquently, and you believe you may never speak this eloquently on any topic, politics of human or elvish design, ever again. And
Does he get to check orate?
Spoon can check orate. Kendrick cannot.
Take it.
You can see that as much as a 3-year-old can look impressed, Oberon looks impressed, and he's like, "Well done, Sir Kendrick. You have impressed me with your knowledge." He holds forth like a tray of cookies and says, "Here."
These are for me.
Yes, I made them myself.
The whole tray.
Yes.
Kendrick will take the whole tray and not eat any of them.
You would refuse to eat food handed to you by a king?
Oh, I am. These are a dessert, are they not? I'm full from our feast.
You feel something change in the room around you. sort of electric buzz, and you hear the sound of thunder roll. Several people get up and begin running from the room. You would come into a dinner with me, the King of Fairies, armed with a sword.
I have no sword on me, my lord.
Armed with a sword in the hall of the King of the Forest Sauvage.
My sword is in my room.
But you brought a sword in with you to this castle, have you not?
Yes.
And that would be considered rude in both your and my culture.
No, it would not. You are
Do
mistaken.
you
my
often
lord.
bring your sword in to speak with the Countess?
Yes. As her trusted advisor, yes. I have held a sword in her presence. And bringing a sword to a castle that you're staying at is not a big
Bringing
deal.
it in the hall is definitely a affront without the permission.
I've already said I don't have my sword on me. I'm wearing borrowed clothes.
Oberon is still pissed that you're refusing him.
Okay. That's okay.
You will take a tray from me and you will not eat from it?
This food is not for humans, my lord.
He glares at you. There will be problems between your bloodline and mine, now and for all time.
Would you have me stay here and abandon my duties in the mortal realm?
I would have you serve me 70 years or 7 after death, whichever is longer.
I have responsibilities to the people outside of this, responsibilities that I cannot abandon.
With frightening speed, Oberon slams his 2-3-year-old fists on the table over and over again and says, I am a king! I am the king of the fairies, and you are in the fairyland! You have responsibilities to me! Eat the cookie! Eat it now, or you will be cursed! I will hunt your bloodline for the end of days!
All of that peeked out your mic.
Okay, well, he's super pissed. Eat the damn cookie is what he's saying.
If it is acceptable, I would agree to serve you after my death.
Some people here are like, oh, shit. The lady across the table from you says, sir, do you know what you are saying?
After my death in the mortal realm, you mentioned serving 7 years here.
I will take your 7 years of service after death in repayment for the insult you have offered me. There is no enmity between our houses. With that, the pressure you didn't even know you were feeling around you subsides immediately. Oberon sits back in his little booster seat. He gets uncomfortable. He goes, well, I did everything I was hoping to get done today. This is a great feast, everybody. It was a great feast. He picks up one of your cookies and eats it right in front of you, and he goes, oh, delicious, so good. The elderberries are actually made of elder humans. So, perfect. Okay, feast over, everyone. Go the fuck home. I don't want you here. You're all dismissed. Get out. Get out! And then he has 2 human servants come and pick his booster seat up and then put it on the floor so that he can waddle out of the room. The next morning at 8 a.m., you all are received by silent human couriers who beckon for you to follow them, the 3 of you and no others.
Let's do it.
You arrive king is seated in his chair as if he has never moved from it. And seated before him are his 3 celebrity judges, the dwarf, the gallant, and the lady, who all nod to each of you who has completed their tests. The king goes, "Oh, oh man, you guys did great. Oh, I'm impressed. Can I go ahead and get you some cloaks or something? Feeling cold? Feel warm? Anything that you want. We've got good hospitality in the house of the king."
Peanut butter and banana sandwich.
Peanut butter and banana sandwich? You people even know about peanut butter yet? We'll do it. He snaps his finger and somebody brings in a peanut butter and banana sandwich. Love those things.
Did.
Anyone want some raw red meat, maybe? No. You've come here. The Citadel. King Boris Savage. You've completed my challenges and my tests, and you treated everyone well and with respect and with chivalry. Now, what can I do for you?
I was told, or prophesied really, that I would have a destiny here.
Which destiny was that? It's different every time.
She didn't say.
She didn't say.
She just said that I would find my destiny at the court of, in your court, my liege.
I'm pretty sure she said something else there.
I don't think so.
Throw this to anybody else if you remember what she said.
We have a quick half-hour break to go back and watch the VOD.
Oh my god. You guys don't remember why you're even here?
I know why I'm here. I know about Kendrick, though.
Yeah, that was 5 weeks ago.
Oh,
Or 5
my
episodes ago. So like 3 months ago.
I think someone even mentioned it earlier in this episode. She told you that this would be where you would learn what castle you were to command.
That old Jim.
Yeah.
That old Jim. Yeah, that one.
She told me that this is where I would learn which castle I would be the castellan of.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're not going to be the castellan of any castle. You'll be the lord of a castle. I see it clear as day now, and he blinks, and like you see a stretch of land that you recognize as Ambrosius's dike, and you get a helicopter cam, which is disorienting for you because you've never flown before, and you can see that between the land of the manses of Horton and Ambrosius's dike, that a great fort, maybe less than a full castle as we would consider it, but a stronghold is assembled north of Salisbury. And he says, this castle will be offered to you by the Baron Will. And should you accept it, it will be yours, and through it you will be made a banneret. And if you deny it, you will never be a banneret, no matter how many mansions you take. This I prophesize. All right, well, our business is concluded, and at least I didn't fuck your sister. This time.
That is good.
Anything I can do for the rest of you? Any hospitality I can offer you? Chivalry?
I originally came here as brother to Kendrick's cause, but we were encouraged to each have our own reasons for seeking out Castle Sauvage when we entered the forest. I came simply because my family or my family line converted to the Christian religion 2 generations back, but those before kept the pagan ways, and my cousin's family had kept the pagan ways that led to his death. He was taken by Merlin on a quest to fight a fey creature to recover a sword that is of your kind, and he died in doing that. Now, I am the final carer for his only surviving child, a child who I have given to others since I don't think that I can give her the upbringing that my cousin would have wanted. I simply came here to understand the beliefs that my family once held, beliefs that were never passed to me, beliefs that I, as I say, think killed my cousin. I simply needed to know how I can do the right thing by his line. Do I steer her from this path? Do I leave her to discover it?
All right, James. The king is a master debater, so here's what I'm going to offer you. The two of you will roll pious off. The winner and their entire family and court will convert to the other's religion.
I know this outcome from the book, and I know that it's particularly bad if I win as well.
Not great.
It's not great.
This is what I have to offer you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Guigan is trying to convert him. I think that Guigan is. If that's the way you want to resolve this, I'm happy. But I'm happy to resolve this without any sort of role. This is just, Guigan came, he saw, he learned. I don't think he was expecting to get answers, and nor does he have an answer right now.
I think he gives answers. He gives you a cornerstone of a human interpretation, a surprisingly human interpretation from his understanding of paganism.
Yeah.
He basically explains to some extent like his purpose as part of a great chain of events leading from the past to the future, that he is like an arbiter and participant in, and that he has some knowledge of like how humans think and how they interpret things. And he talks about paganism, and it's definitely not Christian, that's for sure. There is no one God. There are many things, many spirits, and there is magic.
So let me ask a question in character. So it's only the three of us plus the four of them in the room. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. I would like to, your liege, my liege. I'd like not my liege. So yes, your Majesty. I would like.
If you want to swear, liege,
your
to me,
Majesty. I would like to ask a question. I ask this question meaning no harm. This is pure. I would like to understand. Your court spoke of the fact that the Fey weapons that pin the two sides of the world together.
The reverse side of the world, the seven treasures. Yeah.
Yes, there has been a promise has not been kept, and that balance has been thrown into turmoil. If that was not restored and the world was no longer pinned, what would happen to your people?
It's not what would happen to my people. It's what would happen to yours.
Or to both peoples?
We'll start coming over that border.
So this world, so the people aside the world itself would be in. I'm not asking the right question here. Simply that the thing I learned by coming here, when your court spoke of,
we are coming
Satan.
to an end, the end of the age of magic, and that ending has been disrupted. There is much yet to do, events to pass. The future is set in stone in this, with the exception that if the sword is not returned, then things will end poorly for both sides, the reverse and the world.
We may not honor the same gods, but I don't want to see that outcome happen to either side.
There are many gods and many powers, and they all exist over here. When it ends, the age of magic, the age of gods, it will end forever. And the end is coming.
And what does that mean for creatures of magic like yourself?
A question we have debated since the beginning. There is one who knows. Human, half human. But this creature does not speak of it. What they've seen. And occasionally there are visitors from the future. A Connecticut Yankee.
Would you tell me who that creature is, the half fae, half human, that I may
You know
seek
him
them
as
out for this one?
Merlin. He is not half fae. He is half devil. Born the son of Satan, true. You
Thank
may
you.
seek
You
him out
pass.
at your own peril, but I assure you, his destiny is not one any wish to be caught up in. He turns and he looks at Kendrick, and then he gazes at all of you and says, already, your presence here is because of the failure of the sword to be returned. That is why your destiny has entwined you here to me now. And when the true king wields it, things between our people will be fine again for a time. Until the end. There is a price to be paid for perfidy. There are agreements that have been struck between your people and mine at the beginning of time.
And what were those?
It is not for me to say. Your people had their own instructions, and if you have lost them, well, that's your problem, not mine.
Your Majesty, I am given to understand that my family has some connection to the Fae. Is there anything that you are willing to tell me about that?
I can say that it will not concern you, but it may concern your child's child. It is a thing of generations. And I will say this, Sir Kinnead, and he leans forward, and you see in his eyes, and indeed, you've been speaking to him for a while, but have no description of what he looks like, because as you look at him, you're just like, oh, this is the king. And you're like, he's the king. But what does he look like? He's the king. As he leans forward, you can see glowing blue eyes, and he says, know this. You shelter many children among you, and they hate you. There are those who will stab you in the back. This will come to pass unless events are arranged properly. Your house is treasonous against you. Yes, Spoon, you correctly got me, and I didn't make any attempt to hide that it's Elvis.
We knew this from the peanut
I
butter
knew the two of you
banana
knew. I knew the
sandwich.
two of you knew. If no one caught onto it, I was going to do something with a hound dog, but
What events could I change, my king?
kindness, respect, education. It is
Thank
not
you.
for me to say how you raise your children.
Try to honor my brother as he honored me.
Well, Gordon, please show them all out. And the gallant stands and says, "Seems your time here has ended with us. Allow me to show you to the exit. Thank you so much for attending with us. A bill will be sent to you in the mail.
There a gift
15%
shop at the end?
gratuity is added to your bill for parties of 6 or more." The bill is for 4 Libra. Exactly. And I think this is going to be the end of our adventure here in the Forest Sauvage, unless you guys want to go visit the other Forest Sauvage locations that are not this place.
Nope. I mean,
Okay.
Kendrick got what he was coming for.
A new castle. Maybe, assuming you make agreements.
Hmm.
All right, we've reached the end of the episode. I'm real tired, folks at home. Let's hand out some glory here. You will get 100 for visiting the King of the Forest Sauvage. Each of you will receive 200 for completing 2 challenges with each of the 3 challengees, and then you'll get an additional 100 for completing the bonus question about the beef Wellington, so that is 400 total here. Spoon, you will receive an additional 50 glory for pledging yourself to the service of the Fairy King Oberon post death. Please checkmark fairy lore.
Is that just Spoon?
Yes, just Spoon.
Oh.
Spoon's going to end up in a situation where he needs a jar of dirt and a bucket. For sure. He's going to enter into a bunch of different agreement with different fae, and then he has to go to night court to get adjudicated which one actually gets his soul.
Could I, AP,
Yeah?
request a check in Worldly? I think that
Yeah, sure.
Wiggins, yeah, like
No explanation needed. You're
Piety
questioning
has been-
faith. Yeah. Also, you're out here to play the game like Triple H, and that's the most worldly pro wrestler I can think of. Unlike the complete opposite of Triple H, The Undertaker, a holy man for sure. Yeah, he brings his local priest with him everywhere he goes. And usually his coffin as well. A true sign of respect. All right, anything anyone wants to say at the end of this episode? Any post-episode discussion on this truly wild, where I've managed to include Gordon Ramsay's favorite recipe, a puzzle challenge, Elvis Presley.
This was awesome, man.
Oh,
Like,
Oberon as well. Oberon.
multiple game systems.
Oh, yes. Well, that I didn't do that, but you guys.
No, hey, you brought in chess and Warhammer as well.
Oh, are we considering chess a game system? I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game with rules and specific, like you can only do specific things at specific times. Like that's a game. That's a rule set.
I want to make it clear, by the way, the conversation you had at dinner was about the Warhammer and Warhammer 40k universes as well.
Sure.
Yeah, they were like, oh, there's an emperor. Well, this emperor is the same, but maybe it isn't the same. It could be another emperor. We're never really sure. We don't get news from that far away that often. But there are Warhammers in both of them. Both the
Yes.
emperors have Warhammers sometimes. And sometimes they don't.
Well, actually, the one emperor has a sword, but there are hammers. The hammer is a big deal in his empire. The other emperor definitely had a hammer.
This is why you succeeded on the roll.
Yeah.
Oh, big thanks to Brennan Lee Mulligan for The Last Stand to inspire this episode. A pale echo in the Tolkien way, a less good one. Hopefully I've inspired you to do a less good version of this trivia challenge in keeping with the Tolkienian ways. That way you could complain that everything was better under the Bretons and the Anglo-Saxons ruined everything.
Run a trivia that it was a shadow of its former self.
Oh yeah, the Gallant was Gordon Ramsay, just to be very clear.
Yes. What was the lady? Someone
No, I
specific?
just had a lady, and the
Yeah.
dwarf wasn't anybody in particular
Yeah.
either. But I knew I wanted to have Elvis and Gordon Ramsay, and I wanted to imply that he was Gordon Ramsay in several different ways, so that the Beef Wellington question. I think someone earlier said something like his true name would evoke an animal or something like that, like a ram.
Definitely when I ran this scene in my game, Tyrion Lannister's my inspiration for the dwarf.
Of course.
Right.
I mean, you'd have to go 20 years back to do the guy who plays Mini-Me. So, I mean, Peter Dinklage is pretty much all people think of when they think of dwarves nowadays.
Vern Troyer, his name wasn't it? Played Mini-Me?
Yes.
Yeah. I think of.
But if I
Warwick
said Vern
Davis.
Troyer, how many people besides, I guess, all of us here would have
Yeah, I was
gotten
gonna
that
say,
one?
everyone in this call. and probably
Yeah,
some of our
apparently, I
audience.
didn't know that everyone knew who that was, but
Yeah. No, I think of Peter Dinklage and Warwick Davis.
The other option is the guy that played all the Oompa Loompas in the Johnny Depp.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, his name is Deep Roy, and he got his start in midget porn apparently. So before being in
Wow.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. Thanks for demonetizing this video, James. Definitely
You
marking
can-
this
you
one
can
not
cut-
for kids.
You can cut the last minute out.
You think I edit videos? What am I, some sort of video podcaster? Hey, Critical Role is editing their videos now, and I don't know. And maybe that'll make it better, but it's absolutely wild for them to go from like, yeah, our episodes are 5 hours long, and we're going to offer a 1.5 hour abridged version. And I'm like, oh boy, it really says something when you can cut 3.5 hours out of your fucking content.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
If you
it's all the
solidly
shopping.
proclaim that, like, I don't know what to say.
It's all the shopping.
It's all the shopping. All right. Wow, really calling Laura Bailey out right there. Any outros anyone Gleemo wants to do?
If you're not following me in my Discord, I made this hat and I pulled it together in a week. And yeah, so hit me up on AP's Discord. I'm doing occasional cosplay and leatherwork stuff over on my channel, twitch.tv/Gleemo, and posting pictures in my Discord to not muddy up APs.
You can muddy up my Discord. Fohammer does it all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, like
it's a cesspool.
Wow, that was deeply hurtful. James is
Thank you,
really
Cotton.
making me consider deleting the Discord, deleting my YouTube channel, and withdrawing from internet life,
Listen,
as he suggested I do
He
before.
actively participates. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
After last night's intro hour, I am considering withdrawing into the West, diminishing.
passing,
Come back
passing over the
as
sea.
Arthur. Can you come back as Arthur the White then later on?
I can't get much lighter than this, man.
Yeah.
It's so pale. I know the camera doesn't do it justice. But I need to come back as Arthur the Grey, but that's already happening too.
I would definitely look for you on the dawn of the
The
fourth
fifth
monitor.
day,
Coming
the
up the
first
third
light on the
day.
fifth day.
Look to the east.
Gleemo, have you been invited to the Wink secret game yet? I don't know if that's on the table. I don't know how much we can talk about it.
The what now?
Ah, I see. Don't worry about it. You'll
Apparently not.
invitations in the mail, from what I understand. You've been targeted, sir. You've been targeted. Wink. You'll know.
The check is in the mail.
There's no check. Don't look for a check from me. I don't like writing checks to start with. First off, it involves cursive.
So
Does it?
I was
Yeah, I guess
out
it
to
does.
You have to
dinner
sign a
with
check in cursive
That's
for
true.
it to be
That's true.
legally binding.
Yes. Yeah.
I was out to dinner the other day with a European expat who now lives in the U.S. and he was like, I had to write a check the other day for the very first time. And he's my age. It's like, I didn't know where to fill this any of the boxes out. I had to ask the lawyer, like, how do I even do this?
They didn't teach you that shit in school, for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
they didn't. Well, especially like in Europe, that like hasn't done checks for way longer than we've kind of been on the fence about not doing checks.
What's absolutely wild is you have to pay for checks in America.
Mhm.
Truly
Mhm.
insane.
Like
You
I-
already keep all of my money and spend it on ridiculous things and long shot bets.
Mhm. Speaking of obsolete stuff and technology moving forward, like we're taking another step closer to Cyberpunk and Shadowrun. Is now you'd pay for things with your phone. You just go beep beep.
I mean,
Don't
some
like- you
people are
don't
getting
even-
their chip card inserted under their skin. That's real
Yeah.
cyberpunking right there.
Mhm.
There's so that
Yeah, the
happened a
train
while
ticket
ago.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but his name is hilarious. Did you look it up?
No.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about, so that he had his name legally changed to something ridiculous.
You're
look it
never
up.
going to be able to beat Kim.com. All right. That's all I'm saying. Imagine willingly choosing that as a name.
Okay, he legally changed his name to Meow Ludo Disco Gamer Meow Meow.
You don't know about little Bobby drop tables? Should have sanitized your workflow. That's an XKCD reference for the folks at home.
Little Bobby Tables.
I love the fact that I had to look up an article about this guy to find out what his full name was, and the article keeps referring to Mr. Meow Meow, pleaded guilty to both offences in Newtown local court today, that sort of stuff. So
Really makes me putting Elvis as a fairy king somewhat less weird.
No, so totally on brand.
I went for the classic French interpretation of Oberon, by the way. He's not always a 3-year-old child. He does always act like a petulant child, but he isn't always a child.
when I was in high school, we did a theatrical production of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Midsummer's
that
Night
we
Dream.
liked.
It's very clear Spoon has
but-
not ever seen that
Yeah,
play.
no, but we did it set in the 1950s, like almost like a sort of a Great Gatsby-esque take on
Was there
Midsummer Night's Dream.
doo-wop music?
That's
Sorry,
like,
no, sorry, 1920s,
I was
1920s.
gonna say Gatsby's 20s.
Yeah, 20s, sorry. Yeah.
like that's like one of the only works of Shakespeare that I didn't actually read in school.
Okay, well, Oberon has a son called Robin Goodfellow, which is why I was like, have you seen a guy named Robin? He's a pretty nice guy. I'd say he's a good fellow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm like, I think Ticking Time Bob used Robin Goodfellow in his stream at some point, and so like the
did he?
name was familiar, and I was like, I don't think I have.
Well, let me just put it this way. Oberon and everyone in his court is fucking everybody else in the court, except the people they're actually married to.
Yeah.
That's how
I-
Midsummer Night Dream goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, I thought you were making a Robin Hood reference with Robin and he's a good
No,
fellow.
I was making a Robin Good reference.
Yeah.
At least we didn't get Puck in this episode.
Jesus, what would I even do with that, James? What would I do with that? All right, Kinnead, you fall in love with a horsewoman. A woman with the head of a horse. Not a woman who rides horses. And not a centaur.
That just makes me think of the Mantar. If a centaur and a man had a
Okay.
baby,
The
it's a
best part of
Mantar.
this is that Spoon has not seen the play. Oh my god, this is all going past him. Don't worry about it, audience at home. If you haven't gotten Shakespeare, let me just say your local theaters almost certainly perform it poorly, but it's worth a watch. Go to Los Angeles, find some down on your luck actors who also do it as a musical. Wow, Glimo just absolutely shot around in his chair. I don't know what he's doing. Is he about to bring some LA thing over?
My complete unabridged Shakespeare here, but no, it was my complete unabridged Lewis Carroll, which.
All right, well, if I want to know Jesus Christ is alive.
Same but different.
Oh, no, that's wrong one. That's the wrong one.
No, because see, what I thought about when you're like, you fall in love with a woman who's has the head of a horse and the body of a human, was the most majestic and feared creature, the Mantar, which is half man and half another man. And if you look up Mantar meme, it's very funny.
So it's not how the story goes, unfortunately.
Yeah. Otherwise, look up Reverse Centaur. Is also quite ridiculous.
I'm good. Don't do any of these things. I'm ending them. We're already demonetized. We need to be deplatformed.
We'll have Winter Court and maybe spreadsheet time.
I'd be shocked if we didn't do spreadsheets.
Because we're back the 8th. Okay.